Chapter 7. The Weevil Pack. Since it was getting late in the afternoon, we all decided to take a well-deserved sleep. Killen flew up to find a suitable sleeping spot. He pointed towards some bushes and said, "There's a clearing in the middle of those over there where we will be safe. I shall fly the princesses over. I was thinking, how will Tolo get through the thorns to the clearing, when I saw Tolo starting to climb a tree. Once at the top, he jumped into the clearing. Killen flew Lily and me over at the same time, and went off again after taking one last look for danger. He went to try to find some bedding. The little man and Mammoth walked through the thorn bushes without any problem, seeing as the Mammoth wasn't much bigger than a chicken. We started to talk to pass the time while Killen was gone."
In doing so, we found out the little man's name was Scout, and that the Queen of Fairies had claimed war with her husband, the Gnome King, for banishing their son. Since then, no fairy was to wed a gnome, but Scout wouldn't tell us why the son was banished, only that he had done something that no gnome had ever dared to do before. We saw Killen coming back in a big hurry. He landed quickly, almost landing on Scout. Out of breath, he managed to say quietly that something was following him the whole time he had been looking for bedding. He thought he had managed to lose whoever or whatever it was. We listened for a while, but all seemed quiet. We decided to chance it and have a rest. Though Killen had no bedding, he was able to carry some fruit back, which he had dropped when landing. We all picked up the fruit that was laying on the ground as we dusted it off.
Looking the fruit over, "How do we eat this?" Lily asked. The fruit looked similar to oranges. Tolo took his piece of the orange skin and started to eat it. He told us that the skin was sweet while the inside was very bitter. We all peeled off some skin and started to eat. The skin was very tough and chewy, but it was really good, so sweet as Tolo had said. Lily peeled off a small piece, offering Moro the piece. All he did was complain that so sweet and the fruit would make his teeth rot and fall out. As he was complaining, Killen rolled his eyes, tired of hearing the complaints. So when Moro had his mouth open to say more, Killen threw a piece of bitter fruit in his mouth. We had never seen so many color changes on a person's face before. Moro was boiling mad, and he seemed to grow slightly smaller. But we heard no more complaints as we all settled down. Looking up at the stars, I noticed Tolo was looking down at the blood pendant sighing. I asked him in a low voice, for those who were sleeping, "Tolo, I am sorry I can't do more for you." "Oh, no, princess," he replied. "It isn't that. It's only that I fear coming on this journey because of my mistress, Lady Lanu. She has power over me, and if—" Tolo stopped. "What is it?" I asked. "Wait, silence yourself a moment, Anna. Listen." I became quiet. Tolo moved in front of me, staring at the bushes. The forest had become still as death. We watched the bushes begin to move all around us in the circle, as though the wind was blowing, but there was no wind. It must be an animal, but what could stand coming through the thorns, I thought. Killen woke up, his eyes moving quickly, but his body holding still as though he were still asleep. He placed his arm around Lily, who was sleeping nearby, to protect her from harm. Tolo said aloud, "Those who are at prey, do not hunt tonight, for your princesses are near. I hope these are only hunters of the night, and not Lady Lanu's beasts. I had to take the chance," he whispered to Killen, who slowly got up so as not to wake Lily. The movements in the bushes stopped, but still it was too quiet. "Something's not right. I can feel the presence of a hunter." Tolo said to Killen, "I'll check it out." Scout said. He climbed up on top of his mammoth, who changed into a raven and flew him into the air and soon out of our sight. I had a passing thought as to how the mammoth, who was supposed to be a large creature, could be so small. Suddenly I noticed piercing green eyes staring right at us through the bushes. I tugged on Tolo as he turned to see what I wanted. Killen said with a yell, "Tolo." He turned back around. There were eyes all around us. "Killen, get the princesses now," Tolo commanded. He swooped down, grabbing Lily on one arm. Lily awoke with a scream, mostly because she was startled. But the other reason was Killen had been tackled by a creature who looked so evil that it was hard to look into the creature's face. "That's enough," came a mad growling voice from the bushes. Out jumped a wolf, like creature with wings as large and white as Killen's. The one that had tackled Killen said in a shaking voice, "I was just having some fun." He then removed himself from Killen, who got up and picked Lily up from the ground. She was crying,
hanging onto Killen's arm, while he hugged her with the other. The creature, who we had guessed was the leader, started to laugh. "You go to fight Lady Lanu without weapons or weevils. Oh, what fools! I see you haven't seen your princesses that you have scared." Tolo pointed over to Lily. The weevil went over to Lily and said, "Child of Colac, you must forgive Kenno. He is still just a pup. Not a year has gone by since his birth, though it is no excuse for such behavior." He rubbed his head on her hand and said, "Though we don't take humans as fellow forest dwellers, we've decided to help you help us." He turned to Tolo. "Come with my clan to where we can talk, for the forest has ears at night." Killen didn't like the idea of following them, but what choice did we have? We were surrounded.